Hi, it's Dana. I'm here with this week's question, and this one's a good one because it talks about my favorite subject, that's a pacifier. It comes from Laura, and she writes, "My 7-month-old daughter Rose falls asleep in the evening pretty well after her bath and bottle, but each night she wakes up every 30 to 40 minutes crying for her pacifier. She calms down for the moment and goes back to sleep, but 20 minutes later she's awake again. She has a cold and a stuffy nose, and that seems to be when things have gotten started, and she's also teething. Could that be the problem? What do you suggest for this baby who wakes up every half hour all night? Thank you." Well, first of all, really take a look at if you're making excuses or not. I mean, teething will come and go. Teething comes and goes until a child is 2. So if you think a bad night is always because of teething, you could be waiting 2 years before you're finally getting a good night's sleep. So try not to make excuses. A cold, yes, a child's going to wake up a little more often when they have a cold, but I get the feeling that it's not just been since she's had a cold that she's been waking up. Now the problem is too, when you look at bedtime, it sounds like you have a nice routine. She has a bath, she gets her bottle, but I'm guessing she goes to sleep with a soother in her mouth. And sorry, I call them soothers. They're pacifiers. And so what happens then, if you think of sleep as a journey, and here you are awake, and over here is sleep, and how do you get yourself to sleep each night? Well, you do it the same way just about every night. And babies who have sleep problems usually use a little tool that gets them to sleep. And so you put a pacifier in her mouth, and she sucks until she falls asleep, and usually it falls out. You know, some people say, oh, it falls out the minute she's asleep. Well, that doesn't make it better. It's still the getting to sleep part that is the problem. So when she wakes, and 40 minutes is basically one sleep cycle for a baby. So it sounds to me like often she just does one cycle, comes to a light part of her cycle, which should just be a little blip, a tiny little flickering of the eyelids, and then back into another cycle, is becoming a full wake up. Where's her soother? Not in her mouth. You come in, give her a soother back, suck, back to sleep she goes. 40 minutes later. I mean, even if you got a few hours out of it, it's still not good. You know, even I've had clients who say, well, she sleeps all night even with a soother. But my problem then is what should just be little blips on a wake up. So through the night you're going to have little tiny wake ups throughout the night. And what should just be a little flickering of the eyelids becomes a wake up. And even if she can reach around and find the soother herself and get it back into her mouth, it's still a wake up. It's still fragmenting her sleep. So it's really not good for her in the long run anyway. So starting at bedtime, keep your routine the same. Make sure she has a bath and she has a bottle. Don't let her get sleepy on the bottle, because sucking on a bottle and sucking on a soother are very similar. So don't let her fall asleep at the bottle. You know, have a little cuddle, a story maybe after bottle, and then into the crib without the pacifier. Okay? And it's going to take her time to get used to the idea of sleeping without a pacifier. But once she's mastered the skill of getting herself to sleep independently, internalized skills, so that maybe it involves cuddling her blanket, or even sucking on a finger, or just turning into a favorite position, will become her own strategies instead of relying on that little tool that she's using to get herself to sleep. And she'll become a great sleeper. She'll be sleeping right through the night. There'll be no reason to wake up and cry, because all her skills will be all her own. Okay? So everybody out there with a soother, I'm sorry to say, it just really can cause a problem where a child's waking up often just for the soother. Okay, so thanks for your question, Laura. Sleep well.